So I just woke up, maybe 2 hours woke up. Let me see. To have sort of hangover from last night. This is feels like a hangover. Uh, I'm thinking of here I go forward with the topic because so far with an aircon off, this voice is not enough. Not the video isn't good, but I'm not editing it anyways. Uh, but I'm wondering if I should pursue with. There's one video here that's about the philosophy of a hikikomori. Obviously, people have different philosophies, even among hikikomori. So I was considering, what should I do that, or and wait for a better ending, or should I just upload it and ramble on? Second option was sort of, okay, what's exercise for hikikomori? And that's also another difficult thing because I'm like, I look, I used to not be able to do a single push-up, and took one guy, a basketball player, former professional basketball player, to teach me how to do a push-up. Now this may not be related to being a hikikomori, but uh, in some ways it does. In some ways it's like it's so hard to find a person that you trust and to trust you back. Like we're talking about trust, where people are not just trying to push their ideas on you. Like they're trying to be active in not just listening. They're willing to offend you. They're willing to offend you, and they're willing to also compliment you. And that guy was like a hell of a guy. I didn't realize that we would click, but as with most things in a facility, you had no choice. And I don't know how I ended up not being able to do 12 push-ups, 12 real push-ups. If anything, I had another friend who recommended me to do like sort of beginner push-ups. And push-ups are one of those important exercises, not just because people do it, but because it's one of those. If you can do a push-up, mentally you're believing in the world a little bit more. If you can't do a push-up, even if you do crunches all day, it's like, why the fuck am I working on this belly thing when I can't even work on my shoulders? And then like my thought process comes from the fact that I'm wondering, can I do it in such a way that the numbers will work out, or explain things? Because uh, it's not simple being a hikikomori. You're waking up, and you're not. It's not just the loneliness. That's sort of a mistake I feel some people create. They think there's a form of emotion that runs through a person's day. They forget the fact that most of the time there's not. It's not. It's not. At least that's why I'm not a very pro uh, personality disorder kind of guy. There are some literature on that. The Myths of Mental Illness by Thomas Sass, most famous of all. But there's also a sort of contradiction, two contradictions in the, the the philosophies of hikikomori that's problematic. It's like, are you working or are you not working? That's uh, I just read a comment in a video called "Ways a Hikikomori Can Find You," or something like that. That was like what, 9 months ago, 2 years ago. Who knows? You can search it in YouTube. And finally, there's a lot of things about exercise. The mythology of exercise as improving, I guess, endorphins. I call it mythology because you're not gonna feel that extra boost. It's not gonna change things compared to an antidepressant. And an antidepressant is not gonna change things too. Both of those things can change if your environment is, well, static. Well, it's in a point where somebody can change you. But what if somebody is hurting you? What if somebody you need help? I've been looking for places to ask where I can, like, literally just somebody save me from temporary discharge, because once this COVID is over, I'm open season again for being sent inside the rehab. And it's not just, I don't just mean it like sent inside because you're sent inside. I mean, I was given the instructions. I was on temporary discharge. So there's that there's that specific word, and then even without the specific word, there's that specific history, 5 years. That is like an entire. I'm not saying this is impossible to escape. If I can promise one person that I'll make it my last discharge. I won't get enter a place like that again. And I think some people think it's easy because they don't feel challenged every day in the simplest of manners. They don't have equipment in their bedrooms move all the time. They don't have important things they value suddenly uh, change, and then the values are changed too. Uh, they don't have they don't get put into places where people aren't loyal to you and you are not loyal to those people, but you try to be loyal. And there are days where you make the mistake of being loyal and you fuck up because you find out those people aren't loyal to you. So how does this fix fitness in general? I think fitness in general is a very important thing to consider for hikikomori, just because of the term survival of the fittest. There's no reason to be like muscular as a hikikomori unless you want to like have online relationships. Those online people just wants to like look good. There's no reason to like work on anything but your legs just so you can run fast. When someone's gonna meet you outside in case you have to buy something. The problem is there's a lot of reasons for you to like work on specific body parts as if it's a fight. Because let's face it, one, there's that employment problem. As soon as you don't have to wait for relatives. As soon as somebody hits you, one moment at a time, uh, and they brought up that employment problem, you need to escape. You need some kind of parkour out of your own room. Uh, then there's the awareness problem, the mental awareness of a person who knows something's off in whatever. If there's a fire, you don't want to be the guy inside the room. So there's so many variations of what should you go from that kind of emergency situation to what kind of training situation. Because most people they train, and once they get to train, they're satisfied. We're on the opposite kind of spectrum. We don't need to train, but when we really do need our body to work, we really need to work. So how how is it that you can create a system, especially a lot of those things are random. Like I'm drinking this. See, and I'm drinking this early in the morning first, as soon as I wake up, and I'm drinking this because this is something that's offered to me in this place. Uh, Parents buy things, random stuff. They didn't used to buy these kinds of things. You could say you had to ease them in, and then so you're not drinking water immediately, but you have water there. That used to be my go-to drink. Will I have breakfast? Probably not. Maybe I might if it's a single toast, it's a single food. Sometimes I'm asleep around this time. Sometimes I'm awake. But what my point there is, you don't know what you're gonna exercise if you don't know what food you're gonna put in. It's sort of a nutritionist thing. You have to like beat like, everything about eating, especially for obesity. Is like you have to beat the calories or the 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 sort of counter that you set for yourself. If you don't beat that, it becomes fats, or you look fat. Even with good fat, you look fat. And even if you're not fat, you're gonna be falling into a lean situation. And then the second thing was like, okay, you can beat all those odds. You can look good, feel good, stuff like that. Uh, Destroy whatever depression you have. If if that is really what will destroy your depression, there's other things that are more personal than depression. For depression, trauma, for example, uh, trap inside inside a society that makes you want to push you in more. So what kind of exercise or what kind of training can be done? Uh, I think I will make a second video of this, which is more of my definitive opinion. And this first video, I'll like make it open ended. It's just not possible to like separate the two. Like I'm not. If I was the guy that's equipped with this, I will probably be a success story. Instead, what I am is like a failed story who just happens to like improve. Like I said, with the push, that's an improvement. I was able to do 300 squats. Uh, I'm not saying one this here in my room. Around the time I was out, I was like, okay, shit, I have to like train. And at the same time, shit, there are like people who are fucking gonna like just suck your soul out and like force you to do things. And on the other side, I have to force myself to do things. There are people that are like they're good at say a sport, basketball, but they're lacking teammates in a basketball half court game in the psych ward. I have to step up in there. And if you just step in there and you don't compete, then the fuck, you're ruined. You're dead in the water. You're not helping their mental health. So, what do you guys think should be the ideal training regimen for a hikikomori? If you have any suggestions, send it over to the comments.